Welcome to the WTR Small Cap Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Gerdeman, Vice Chair and Co-founder and Chief Marketing Officer of Water Tower Research. In today's podcast episode, I'm being joined by Steve Fife, President and CEO, and Kristen Cunningham, Chief Sales Officer, both of LifeVantage, NASDAQ ticker symbol LFVN. LifeVantage is a world leader in using nutrigenomics to activate a healthy body, mind, and mood with science-backed products that include unique combinations of naturally occurring compounds. The company activates financial, social, and community wellness by using a direct selling business model to offer its premium quality supplements, energy, and skincare products through a connected network of independent consultants around the globe. Also joining us today is my equity research colleague, Doug Lane. Good morning, and thank you for joining today's podcast, Steve, Kristen, and Doug.
Good morning,
Hey,
Tim.
thanks, Tim. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Steve, great to see you again. Kristen, nice to meet you for the first time on our podcast. I'll start out with you, Kristen, since this is your first podcast with Water Tower Research. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what your role at LifeVantage entails, please?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks again for having me. Excited to be a part of this. But a little bit about my background. I've been in this industry about 20 years, and I always joke that I'm the only person in the entire industry that was introduced to it by their dad telling them to go find a job. So usually people are introduced to it to maybe get away from a job. Mine was definitely my dad saying, go find a job. But I've been in the industry about, like I said, 20 years. Spent 5 years at a company, started on the sales team in Utah. That I spent another 10 years at another legacy company where I just continued to grow and learn about the industry, and have been at LifeVantage now about 5 years as well. So feel like I have a great background and have seen a lot of things in this industry, and love coming to LifeVantage and love being a part of this because I really feel like it's one of those companies that has done an excellent job of, evolving with the times, but making sure that they're really protecting the base and foundation, which is easier said than done. So all of that translates into this role by saying that I'm responsible for the field, for revenue, for their activities, and keeping them focused on their goals and the company goals, and ultimately helping people get healthier and then make a strong income.
Excellent. Well, so happy to have you on. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Doug to ask a few questions.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. And welcome, Kristen. I've seen you at many consultant events in the past, so it's finally nice to meet you here on in person, or at least live. Speaking of that, you just had a consultant event. It wasn't in person, but it was a virtual event. So can you talk a little bit about what the event was and what's the theme for 2026?
For sure. Yeah, we've been in a great event cadence, and part of that cadence is that we start with the January kickoff, and the main purpose of that is, like you mentioned, Doug, really announcing our theme to the year for our consultants. And we refer to every year as an era. So we started, we know, with our Rise era, which was all about, rising to the occasion of going through our LV 360 activities. Then we had our Drive era, which was like, all right, now we've risen and let's drive. And this year it's your breakthrough era. And what I love about it is it remains consistent. Era meaning enroll, retain, advance, which are all foundational things for this business that no matter what, any leader is going to say, yeah, you have to do those things to grow. But what is special about this year, with it being a breakthrough era, is it's so personal. So, in our Rise era and Drive era, it was really around this company goal of, hey, we're doing this together, we're transforming, we're rising, we're driving. And now a breakthrough is an opportunity for people to take all those wonderful things and say, how does this impact me personally? It might be earning my first trip. It might be that first commission check. It might be getting to a rank I never thought I could. It might be that mental breakthrough. But I love the fact that we chose breakthrough because it can be personalized on the market level, on the team level, and on the individual level.
No, that's great. In fact, the last event I was at, you had just closed the Love Biome acquisition. So there was a lot of excitement. I believe they had a pretty good representation at that convention as well. So can you update us on Love Biome? How's the integration going? What's the energy like these days around the acquisition?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
it is.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry, Steve.
That's okay. I'll take that one, Doug. It is progressing well. With and it actually ties to me into this breakthrough theme as well. It's the first time LifeVantage has ever done an acquisition and the subsequent follow-ups to that, the integration and really driving success through that acquisition. And it all starts with really a common vision that the founders of Love Biome had and the path they were going on. And I've shared, that journey that Kelly Olson, the primary founder, and I had when we connected, and again the shared vision, and the deal closed in October, and we were able to really quickly integrate. I'd say a lot of the mechanical aspects of a transaction, getting them on our ERP system, getting them on our compensation plan. We integrated both compensation plans within a month. So mechanically, getting bank accounts and credit card processing all aligned, all of that stuff really came off without a hitch. And Kristen, she had the responsibility for driving that integration and did an amazing job. So November 1st, we flipped that switch and we're in business together. And since then, it's been more about, driving the business. Now that we had the tools and the ability to do the business, let's drive the business. And what's happened over the last couple of months, what we're seeing is the Love Biome Consultant Group and the LifeVantage Consultant Group. Collectively, we refer to ourselves as Activation Nation, but they are reaching out to one another and driving the integration from a business standpoint. And both groups are educating one another on the products, that were unique to the two companies. And so the cross-selling that we hoped for and anticipated is happening and is actually exceeding our expectations. And which is great. It's great to be able to leverage those two sales forces from that standpoint, but also to leverage the energy and the excitement that comes from, a few thousand people joining a company at a single time. So far, so good. Kelly continues to lead the charge with driving the combined now Love Biome product line, if you will. And I think the second half of this year for us, January to June, is just going to show continued growth through the efforts of that acquisition.
Yeah, I didn't realize the integration was so quick. I mean, you're basically hitting the ground running as of the first of the year here.
That's
So
right.
that's very encouraging.
Yeah.
So, besides the integration of Love Biome, there was some news coming out last of the event last weekend, and I think I saw something about a new mobile app and a new challenge, and just maybe talk a little bit about the news from the recent event.
Yeah, I can take that one, Doug. We have some incredible tools for our consultants, and one of the best ones, and maybe one that we don't talk about as much, is our consultant app. And within that, there's been this ask, like, how do we get customers engaged in that? How can we get a customer? And so, this past event was the first time that we've ever even been able to open one of those tools to our customers. So a lot of excitement just around that in general. But a big feature of that was this idea of an activation tracker. And, we saw with Mind Body just a lot of the success that was coming with that product. But more than that, the success that was happening as people would combine, consistent product usage with consistent, changing habits and changing lifestyle. So this was an app that we created to say, hey, the products are great, but they're even better if you use them every single day and change your life along with them. So it's the ability for a customer or a consultant to go in and say, yes, I took my mind body today. I took my products today. I went on the walk. I got my 10,000 steps. I drank my water. And really, this idea of coupling consistent product usage with consistent activity behavior and change that way. And we know those results obviously have a big impact to the end consumer of that. On the business side, what we love about it is we spend a lot of time, talking about this concept of continuing to accumulate your subscription base. So from the business side, if people are feeling the results of those products and consuming them consistently, that means reorders in your business. That means solid retention. That means growing that base in a really meaningful way. So the consultants just loved it as well. And it's a competitive group. So I will say we've also been able to gamify that a little bit. So there's leaderboards saying, hey, look, Steve's the most consistent today, or Doug's the one that's in the lead. So it never hurts to create a little healthy competition within that too. So we've been able to hit, I think, a number of things. Give that access to customers, promote that consistent product usage and activity, and gamify it in a way that the consultants realize the compelling reason for the business behind it.
And Kristen, do you want to just talk a little bit about Activation 90 and the access that people have now to the weekly training?
For sure. For sure. So globally, this concept that we released was the no resolutions revolution. And this idea that, hey, it's easy to make a resolution on December 31st, but by about January 2nd, you might be questioning it. So instead of focusing on this quick change, how do we focus on this lifestyle, which is really what the app was kind of designed to do. But the next step of that is what Steve described as Activate 90. So in several of our markets, they have this opportunity where they kind of earned access to be part of this exclusive group called Activate 90, where they have access to even deeper training on the health side, deeper training on activity, just kind of those things that are really going to help them not just create a resolution that they stick with for January, but a lifestyle change and a habit change that follows them long term. But they got access to this Activate 90 group where it was a select group of people that they're on weekly calls. They're getting, even deeper levels of content to really keep them consistent, not only in the products, but also like on those business activities as well. So really excited to see that continue on, and then to repurpose that content for even a broader audience. So excited for the Activate 90 portion of that as well.
So how many people are involved with Activate 90?
That's a good question. I don't know right off the top. I want to say about 275 people approximately.
Okay, so it's a select group. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
group that
And
tested out MindBody
yeah.
before it was launched.
And we've had a lot of success with that. Like that's been a concept that instead of just throwing it out to the masses,
Right.
how do you get your bell cows excited about what's coming and really feeling strongly about it? Because they're the messengers that are going to take it to that next level. So it's get the right people excited and engaged on that early.
Yep, that
And
makes
like
sense.
Kristen said, these are they're weekly podcasts basically where that are recorded. Last night was the first one where we had two nutritionists come on and talk to this group of individuals. Those are recorded, and then we will repurpose them and provide access to the entire Activation Nation over time, but it gave them kind of an exclusive edge by earning access to this.
I got it. That makes sense. As part of the recent convention I was at in Dallas, you launched a new stack right away with the flagship products from both Love Biome and LifeVantage. I think you call it the Healthy Edge stack.
That's right.
So talk a little bit about how is the reception to Healthy Edge, and what have you followed up with? I think has there been more science around the stack and the synergies between Nerf 2 and P84, and what else are you working on from combining the products of the two companies?
Yeah, you're right, and there was a lot of reasons why we launched that Healthy Edge stack in October. One of them, candidly, was to bring the two companies together and have a unified message and get both companies to focus on a single product. We're LifeVantage is proud of the heritage, the legacy of Protandim NRF2. The science behind it is indisputable. And I'd say Love Biome was equally proud of P84. And at that event in October, we were able to present an in vitro test results that we had done that really supported P84 as an activator, similar to other hero products that LifeVantage has. And so in October, we announced the results of that. We announced the combination of Protandim and P84 in this Healthy Edge stack, knowing, probably without the concrete evidence at the time, but knowing that there would be synergistic benefits of those two. And in November, December, and we just announced actually at the virtual event just over this last weekend, a study of the combined P84 and NRF2. And in fact, it does exactly what we anticipated, and further amplification of and synergistic benefits of those two products together. So now, there's science to support our hypothesis, and that stack, it hasn't surpassed and become our number one stack, but I believe within the next few months it will be our number one stack, which is phenomenal, right? And being able to have a common message, being able to have the science now behind it, is helping to drive that unification of the two companies together. So it's been again a great product for us.
I assume there's going to be more to come, right? I mean, as you get deeper into the science behind the two product portfolios, it's not going to stop here, right?
No, that's exactly right. In fact, there were other products that Love Biome had. I'd say P84 was their hero product, but other very complementary products. And we have a pathway here where during this quarter we will start rolling out a few of those products that we feel fit very well into the overall portfolio of products, and the messaging into existing LifeVantage products. And with P84, we'll be rolling out a few more products that came through that acquisition. So that acquisition, I say it a lot, it was more than just P84. There are other amazing products that Love Biome have. The leadership that Kelly and Sean are providing from a corporate standpoint has been amazing. And then obviously the field and consultant base and customer base. So and the cultural fit has been also equally great. So a lot of benefits from that. But we'll be announcing here soon some additional products that are now part of the overall combined company portfolio.
No, that makes sense. And yeah, combining sales forces is not necessarily an easy thing. So I think that it's great that you can see the cultural fit, even though they're smaller and newer, but still you never know because they all have their own sort of pace and cadence and
That's right.
personalities. So it's good that the culture's blended. So let's look forward here as 2026 unfolds. You had the virtual event this month, but then you've got live events coming up. I think the next one's in April, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
And you're also due for a global convention in the second half of this year. So maybe give us a little preview of what we can expect in your upcoming events.
Yeah, that's right. April, we'll be in Las Vegas for our in-person event. And that will be our focus there is really kind of a celebration now of combining Love Biome and LifeVantage, having these additional products come to play, and then just continuing to build on the business opportunity. You'll see LifeVantage talk more about the business opportunity that this channel provides. You know, we're proud of our products, we're proud of the science behind our products, but we also offer an amazing financial opportunity for people. And I feel like, you know, sometimes that message gets lost. And this fiscal or calendar 26, I think you'll see an increased focus on the company talking about and targeting entrepreneurs, people that are looking for, you know, an alternative to either a full-time job or just an avenue of incremental income. And so we'll be building upon that, and again, I'm kind of wrapping all of that around this breakthrough theme. I think it's fantastic because we can pivot so many messaging around breaking through. So 26, you know, is going to be a breakthrough year for LifeVantage.
Well, it sounds like it's gotten off to a good start. So I see we're coming up on time. So maybe I'll end there and turn it back to Tim to wrap up.
Awesome.
Well,
Thanks.
Steve, Kristen, Doug, thanks for joining us today. A really interesting conversation, and best wishes to all of you for a healthy and prosperous 2026. I can probably only get away with saying that for maybe another 2 days, and we're halfway through January already.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, as well as visiting www.watertowerresearch.com to stay up to speed on the company's small cap written research reports, podcasts, fireside chats, industry-specific symposiums, and conference schedules. We will see you next time for another edition of the WTR Small Cap Spotlight podcast. Finally, a special thanks to the producer and editor of the podcast, Krista Fitzpatrick.